Hello and welcome to Trading 5 Talents. In this video, I want to go over some improvements that I am planning to make on my Flybrid bot in Option Alpha. So I just recently posted my week 7 results using this bot. And if you watch that video, you can see that there were a lot of losses that were sustained this past week. So I want to make some improvements, and I want to go through some of the reasoning of why I'm making these improvements and how I think they're actually going to help and prevent losses like I sustained this past week. So there are two major problems that I've identified in this bot, and they both have to revolve around this clustering idea. And the first cluster problem is the DTE cluster. And so what I mean by that is that currently all of the iron flies are at least 10 DTE. That's what is listed in the entry scanner. Now, just to recap, this bot that I've made on Option Alpha is a bot that opens up a 10 strike wide iron fly at the money on SPY every day at noon. And I'm going for, at the current settings, 50% profit and a 25% stop loss, but all of the iron flies are at least 10 DTE. And that's okay, except this is what happens. On Monday, when a trade opens or an iron fly opens, it expires on a Thursday, so 10 DTE. Tuesday expires on a Friday. Wednesday expires a Monday, because 10 DTE from Wednesday is actually a Saturday, and so it just takes the next open availability, which is the Monday, so that's a 12 DTE. Thursday would expire on a Sunday, but it just moves it out to the next available option expiration, which would be the Monday, 11 DTE. And then a Friday open also expires on a Monday, which is actually 10 DTE. So you can see there's a cluster of iron flies that all expire on the same day on this Monday right here. So here is the solution that I didn't come up with, nor did I really address the problem. Someone else did, and I'm very thankful for that. So, and that is make all the iron flies either 10 or 12 DTE. So the Monday trades would expire on a Thursday, just as before. Tuesday would expire on a Friday, just as before. Wednesday would expire the following Monday, just as before. And this is a 12 DTE. So what's going to change is if we open up a trade on a Thursday, make it expire on the following, not the following, but 2 Tuesdays later, 12 DTE. And then Friday would expire 2 Wednesdays later for a 12 DTE. So you can see now they're either 10 DTE or they're 12 DTE, and you have a trade opening every day of the week, and you also have a trade closing, or at least expiring, on each day of the week. And so this is going to be put into the entry scanner of my bot, and I want to thank Jared and Remy for coming up with this idea and then working out all the logic to make this possible. So let me show you what it looks like in the entry scanner. All right, over in Option Alpha, when I go to the bot section and my live bots, here's my Flybrid. So I'm just going to click on this, go to settings up here on the top, and then I'm going to look at the entry scanner right here. And so here is the new entry scanner. So this stays the same, this first recipe. The bot can open a new position because it can open one per day, and the current market time is after 11:45, and then it's going to check for this availability right here. And here's the next recipe that is new. So today is either Monday or Tuesday. So if it's Monday or Tuesday, it's going to do this, and that is going to have the shorter expiration. So what is the shorter expiration? Well, the shorter expiration is over here on the inputs, and it's 10 days. If it's not Monday or Tuesday, which means it's Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, this one is going to occur. And so it's going to open this iron fly, and that's going to be using the longer expiration. So what's the longer expiration? Well, if we go over to our inputs, we can see the longer expiration is 12 DTE. All right, so that's just a simple update to the entry scanner to ensure that there isn't a DTE cluster problem with the bot. Okay, the next issue that I'm finding with the bot is also another cluster problem, but this one is a strike cluster problem. So what's happening here is that when the market is range bound, as SPY has been for the past, few months, it forces the bot to open up iron flies that are centered around a very small range of strike prices. And in a range-bound market, that is probably just fine. But if there's a major move in the market, like we had last week, week, then obviously it's not fine. So if you take a look at my trades that closed out last week, here in this red box, you can see the center strike. So these are the short strikes, both the call and the put, 412, 413, 411, 412, 412, 410, 413. So from 410 to 413, all 7 of these iron flies were open, and at one time these were all open at the same time. So 7 iron flies around just a very small number of strike prices. It could be good if the market stayed the same, and it could be very bad if the market didn't stay the same, which again is what happened last week. So is this the actual problem that that my bot encountered? I don't think it was the problem. However, I do believe it compounded the problem when the market finally decided to take off last Thursday. So there are several possible solutions to solve this cluster issue. And many of these ideas have been talked about and discussed and promoted in the Option Alpha community. So if you're not a member, I encourage you to join. There's a lot of valuable information there. There's a link down below if you'd like to use that affiliate link. And the solutions mainly center around either taking profits earlier or reducing the time in the trade. Just basically getting out of the trade with money in hand and not allowing the market's moves to turn your winners into a loser. So if you just go to Option Alpha in the community section, you search for Trading 5 Talents, you'll see this post right here, the Daily Iron Fly Bot. It's the blue bat. This is the one where a lot of these ideas have been suggested. So I encourage you to take a look at that. And I'm going to highlight several of them. And I'm going to touch on several of these ideas here in this video. And then toward the end of the video, I'll give you the actual changes that I'm making to my bot based on these ideas. Okay, so here are some of these ideas, and this is the first part. So exit the position if a certain profit is reached within X number of days. And this was suggested by a trader named Keith. So thank you for that. Here's another suggestion, stop loss scaling. You move the stop loss up based on days in trade, or DIT, and this one was from Jared. Another idea is removing overnight risk when the position has a majority of the profits. This is something that I suggested and I made an automation for, and then there's a video on what that automation actually does. And another suggestion was about diversification using other ticker symbols, and this was suggested by Lauren. Another one is to prevent the cluster problem that we're having, is to be able to check the theta and or the strikes of the trade prior to entry to ensure that you're not doubling up or tripling up on a certain strike with that iron fly, so that your bot doesn't have too many positions clustered around a specific strike price. And this was suggested by Tom Trader. So here are the first part of the ideas. Again, all of them basically are around separating these strikes out, diversifying in some way, or just taking your profits a lot earlier or protecting your profits. So here's part 2. So to prevent a cluster, then check the delta prior to entry, and then you tag that bot accordingly. This was presented by Misha T. And I apologize if I'm not summarizing your ideas as eloquently as you guys have in the community section. I just wanted to basically just give the gist of everyone's ideas because they're really great, and I just want more people to be able to see them. All right, another one by Jared, close the position when the underlying touches the long strike. Another one here by Stefan, and that is closing these positions sooner, either by shortening the DTE or having a smaller profit target. So basically scalping this credit with these iron flies. Another one, a bulk harvest, and that's closing all of the positions when the bot, at the bot level, profit and loss reaches a certain threshold. And so I presented this one, and then I'll elaborate on that one in just a little bit. And then finally, adjusting the stop loss and the profit targets based on the movement of the underlying SPY. This was presented by Taterhead. This one is also a very interesting idea, basically making the iron fly more adaptive to the market environment. So all of these are really great ideas. And again, I'm very thankful for everyone contributing to making this bot even safer and more profitable for everyone. So to solve the strike cluster problem, I'm going to have 3 additions to my bot. So first of all, I already implemented that new entry scanner, and that's going to sort of spread out the DTE cluster. So here are the three things that I'm going to be changing in my bot to address this strike cluster issue or problem. So first of all, I want to mention that I think it's going to be really beneficial for multiple solutions to be tested simultaneously. I mean, that was the whole idea, behind my 20 Ironfly iterations, just testing all and see which ones work and just collect that data and then make some informed decisions after that. So with all of those ideas that I had just listed, and I'm sure there are going to be many more that come out in the Option Alpha community, not all of them can be tested in the same bot because some of them have different approaches on how to enter, how to exit, or whatever. So we can't test all of them in the same bot. Nor would I think it's beneficial for one idea to emerge and then everyone pile into that idea and it goes south, and then we're all stuck in the same boat with more losses. So I think what's probably going to happen is that if someone has an idea, they're going to want to test it out in their own bot, whether it's paper or live, and then report back, which I think that is probably the best thing that can happen. So I'm going to select three things that I would like to do with mine. And then of course I'm going to report and let everyone know how it worked. And I hope that others who are taking a different approach will also report back. And that way we can make the bot just a little bit better for everyone collectively. So here are the three things that I'd like to implement. So first of all, remove the overnight risk. And this idea is when a position is up over 45% profit right before close, sometime before the close of the that market day, instead of running the risk of it gapping down, I just want to close at 45% if it's after 3 p.m. So that's the removing overnight risk. Second thing I want to do is stop loss scaling, and that's going to be based on both the days in trade as well as the profit that position has already. And then third, profit reaping, and I'll explain these last two in just a few minutes. So first of all, the removing overnight risk, I've already made an automation and I've already implemented it and used it on a trade this past week, and that was covered in a previous video. So if you want to check that out, feel free. Otherwise, I'm not going to go over it in this video again. Okay, so let's take a look at this next thing that I would like to do with the bot, and that's stop loss scaling. So the initial idea was presented by Jared in the Option Alpha community, so thank you for that, Jared. And it's basically moving the stop loss up or tighter the longer the position has been open. So the longer the days in trade, the longer the DIT, the stop loss gets moved up. So I'm starting my stop losses right now with this current iteration at 25% stop loss. So I would be moving that up the longer the trade has been open. So this is going to reduce some of that loss potential by closing up that stop loss or closing in that stop loss. I also want to incorporate a shrinking trailing stop based on profit. So it's different than what Jared is proposing because his is based on the days in trade. Mine's going to be based on the profit that particular position is experiencing. So I want to lock in those profits sooner. So once in profit, the DIT idea is not going to be much of an issue because the trailing stop is going to be activated and take over. So therefore, moving the stop loss up, that sort of goes away because the trailing stop is now going to close out that particular position. So combined, what this is going to do is it's going to hopefully get out of our position sooner to avoid the clustering, as well as locking in profits, as well as reducing some of the risk by keeping those trades open until it reaches that 50% profit target that I had initially set. So I'll be doing this using two separate automations. The first is I'm going to take one of Jared's automations that he shared in the community, and I'm going to modify it to what I'd like to do with my bot. I'm also going to modify one of my shrinking trailing stops. So I'll have two different automations, and I think two different automations would work better than just trying to put it into one. That way you can turn them on or off depending on your taste, and also this idea of a modular bot with different automations working. It just seems to be a lot more customizable, and to me that's just a little bit more appealing to have separate automations. So let's take a look at what this looks like in Option Alpha in my bot. Okay, here's the dashboard for my live Flybrid. So I'll go to settings, and so down here So right here under monitors, I have this shrinking trail automation. And so if I click on it, I'll show you what it does. So first of all, it's controlled with a switch, so you can turn it on or off. And if it's on, this is what happens. For every iron butterfly or iron fly position, if the premium has decreased by level 3 since it was opened, and it has this tag, level 2, it's going to do this. If it's decreased by level 2 and it has this tag, it's going to do this. If it's decreased by level 1, since it was opened, it's going to do this. So let's start down here with level 1. So what is level 1? If I go over to my inputs, go to level 1, 20%. Okay. So if the iron fly is in 20% profit, since it was opened, it's going to update these exit options. And what are these exit options? They are the level 1 exit options. So the level 1 exit options are as follows: 50% profit target, 20% activation, 15% trail. So basically this is going to act like my break even. Once it gets into 20% profit, I don't want to lose any money. I don't want to go into profit and then it become a loser like some of my other trades have this past week. So that's what this one does. At level 1, it's basically going to move it up to break even. And it's going to tag the position. It's going to tag it as level 1 trail. And so once it has this level 1 trail tag on the position, it's now eligible to go to this level 2. So if the position premium has decreased by level 2, and if we look over here at level 2, it's going to be 30%. So at 30%, it's going to look to see if the position also has the tag level 1. Well, it does have the tag level 1 because it was tagged down here. And if it has the tag of level 1, it's going to update the exit options to the level 2 exit options. And what that would be is a 30% activation and then a 10% trail. So it's shrinking the trail from 15% down to 10%. And then it's going to untag the level 1, and it's going to add the tag level 2, which now makes it eligible for this one right here. So if the position premium has decreased by level 3 since it was opened, and it has the tag level 2. So what is the level 3? The level 3 is now 40%. And so what happens at 40%? It's going to do the level 3 exit options, and that is a 40% activation with a 5% trail. So it's shrunk from 15% down to 10%, down to 5%. Now remember, if it gets over 45% and it's nearing the close of the day, then my removing overnight risk is going to take over and just close out the position. If it goes from 40% all the way up to 50%, well, it's just going to exit at 50%. So here I am shrinking the trailing stop of each of the positions, and then I'm tagging them along the way to ensure that there is no backward movement through this process. So the next part of the solution that I'm implementing is, again, based on Jared's idea of scaling the stop loss as the DIT increases, or the days in trade increases. And so that's this automation right here. It's called Tighten Stop Loss. And you can see it's under a trigger. And what the trigger is actually the market open. And that's what this icon represents. So 10 minutes after the market open, or 9:40 Eastern time, AM, this automation is going to run. And it's only going to run once throughout the day, just at market open. Okay, so for every iron fly position, it's going to go through a series of checks. And I'm starting mine at 2 calendar days. So if the position has been open for more than 2 calendar days, and the position return is less than 10%, meaning it's been open, but it's not yet 10% profitable. So if it has been open for more than 2 days and is not yet 10% profitable, it's going to ask if it's been open for 3 days. And if it has, it's going to ask if it's been open for 4 days. So let's say a position has been open for 2 calendar days and it's less than 10% profitable, but it's not yet open for 3 days. So it's going to come down here and it's going to update these exit options according to the day 2 stop loss, which is negative 20%. So remember, I'm opening every iron fly initially with a negative 25% stop loss. After 2 calendar days and it's not yet 10% profitable, it's going to update it to negative 20%. So it's going to shrink that stop loss. And then it's going to tag that position as a day 2 stop loss. All right. So now it's been 3 days, but not yet 4 days. So if it's been 3 days, what's going to happen is it's going to update to the day 3 stop loss, which is negative 15%. And then it's going to untag the day 2 stop loss and then retag that position as a day 3 stop loss. Now, again, these tags are nice to have not only in your trade log, but sometimes they're very useful in your automations, so you know which positions receive specific actions. All right, and then finally, if it's been open for 2 days, yes, 3 days, yes, 4 days, yes, then it's going to activate the day 4 stop loss, which is a negative 10%. Untag the day 3 stop loss, and then retag the position as a day 4 stop loss. Now, this is all assuming that the trailing stops have not yet been activated on the other automation that I showed you. All right, so if the trailing stops have been activated, those are going to take over, and then you're going to close for hopefully a profit. This is just to make sure that you're not taking the full negative 25% stop loss the longer you're in the trade. It just tightens it up to sort of reduce some of that risk. So that's what this automation does. And the third thing that I'm going to be implementing in this Flybrid Iron Fly bot is called profit reaping. And it's just the name that I'm giving to it to sort of accurately describe what I'm trying to do. And that is the idea of taking the profit or the loss at the bot level instead of the position level. So right now, what we're doing, at least what I'm doing with my bot, is every time a position hits a certain percentage, then I'm closing it. If it goes down to a loss, my stop loss, then I'll close it. And so I'm monitoring each trade individually only. And so when I had a whole bunch of trades that have not yet reached my profit target or my stop loss target, and then the market moved, all of them got closed out at my stop loss target. And so that's what I'm trying to avoid. So this profit reaping hopefully will help eliminate what happened this past week. And that's by analyzing the profit and loss at the bot level instead of just the position level. So if the entire bot, that is all of the positions together combined, if that reaches a certain threshold of either profit or loss, then I'm going to close all of the positions, with the exception of the position that was open today. So if this profit reaping occurs before noon, I'm closing all positions, and then the next one opens at noon. If this profit reaping occurs after noon, that is, I just opened a trade that day, then it's only going to close the trades that weren't opened today. Therefore, it's still going to be, pattern day trading safe. So the bot is now going to start with a so-called clean slate and just start adding in positions every day at noon. And it's going to keep the bot, hopefully, it's going to keep the bot from having too many positions open at once. And that was a real problem that I had this past week. One, because I was going for a higher profit target, 50%, and I increased the DTE to 10. So I had to stay in the trades longer to get that profit level. Now, just because this concept is looking at the bot level profit and loss, it doesn't mean that I'm not still looking at the position level and looking at each trade individually. So individual trades are still going to have their own exit options, just as we mentioned. It's going to have that stop loss being tightened, as well as the trailing stop being tightened, depending on which profit level it hits. So I'm looking both at the macro level and also the micro level of this particular bot to prevent this clustering that was occurring and I paid for quite steeply this past week. So let me show you what this one is going to look like in the automations. So it looks like I haven't added this one in yet. So let's add it in. I'm just going to go to automation, select the automation, and I already have it saved in my library, so I'm just going to click on Profit Reaper, and I want this one to be a monitor. So I want it to scan every 15 or monitor every 15 minutes all my open positions and my bot level profit. Now these are arbitrary. I'm just saying $500. I don't know what this value should be. My bot loss level is going to be negative $250. So I'm going to make these a bot level input. So I'm going to click on this, add a bot input, and this is my bot profit level. Yes. And then over here, I'm going to add a bot input and make this my bot loss level. Save that. All right. And then my Profit Reaper, this is the switch. I'm going to make this a bot level input as well. And then I want my default value to be on. And so here's the description. Once the bot profit loss targets are reached, all positions except those open today are closed. So yes, I want that, and I'm going to save it. And so now we have it right here, the Profit Reaper. And because I made those bot level inputs, down here are the bot level inputs. Okay, so the bot profit level, bot loss level, and then profit reaper is turned on. You can see my shrinking trail is turned on. My remove overnight risk is also turned on. All right, so let's take a look at the profit reaper automation. So if I click on this, it's a pretty simple one. First of all, it's going to ask if that switch is turned on. If it is, it's going to look at the bot open P&L. Okay, so this is all of the positions simultaneously. So if it's greater than the bot profit level, which I set to 500 for right now, I might change that later, but I set it to 500 for right now, then for every iron butterfly position that wasn't open today, it's going to close the position. So over here, if the profit isn't greater than my profit level, then what it's going to do is it's going to ask, is it less than my loss level? And if it is, then for every iron butterfly position that wasn't open today, it is going to close all of those positions. And it repeats for every position. So it's going to close all of them except for the ones that were opened today. Now, I am questioning this recipe right here. The bot open P&L is less than this loss level. I guess you could think of it two different ways, and I'm not sure if I'm thinking about it the right way. So if my loss level is negative $250, I want it to close if my loss is greater than $250. So does that mean my profit and loss is less than negative $250? Or is my loss greater than negative $250? So I don't know, maybe I'm just overthinking it, but I think this is the correct recipe right here. Okay, so that's the automation, Profit Reaper, and everything is turned on. So the last thing I wanted to mention is I have this trigger right here, this opened tag. I guess I don't need it now. So this is what was happening. When I open an iron fly for the day, I tag it as open today. And the reason I tag it as open today is because I was using that originally for the Profit Reaper, but I guess I don't need to. And so when I put this trigger in, that if the position has been opened for more than a day, then I untag that position. And that way I can tell the Profit Reaper not to close any position that has the tag open today. So I guess I don't need it. So I think I could probably remove it right now. And so I'll just remove that one right now. And then I'm going to go to the entry scanner and then remove these tags right here, open today. I don't think I need those anymore. If I'm wrong, then someone please tell me. So that's it. Those are the three things that I am adding into my bot to hopefully prevent a lot of loss that will occur with a very directional move in SPY as happened this past week. So if you have any questions about what I'm doing here with the automations, then please either leave a comment down below here on YouTube, or it might actually be better to leave a comment over in Option Alpha. That way you can see other traders and how they're handling the situation, as well as screenshots are a lot easier to share. The automations are a lot easier to share if you post over there. With that said, until next time, trade wisely and take care.